Hello, everybody, and welcome to Sunset Happy Hour Club. My name is Madison, but you can call me Mads, and I am your host. This is our very first episode, kind of. We recorded a few, and none of them felt quite right, but we're doing it now. Does it feel fully ready? Maybe not so much. If you're watching this, you'll see I've got a lot of bear shelves behind me. Eventually, those will look cute, maybe some plants, a little something. But for now, we are just going to do the thing. We are going to make it, we are going to put it out, and we are going to go from there, because otherwise it will never start. Like I said, I am your host, Mads, and I will be with you every week. You can expect a little bit of me catching up on life, maybe telling old travel stories, sharing things I'm loving, just a little bit of lifestyle content, as well as there's going to be a lot of behind the scenes of my business, Wandering Wave Surf Company. We are going to talk a little bit more about that later in this episode. But Happy Hour Club is not really fun as a one-person show, so we're going to be bringing in some fun guests as well, whether that is conservationists, environmentalists, people promoting good for the planet, other creatives, photographers, people starting their own businesses and their own really cool brands, and then just some of my friends, basically rad people that I want to sit down and have a conversation with. You will see them all here. You may hear a little bit of rustling around with me. I have got my 5-month-old puppy, Ridley. Oh, who is jumping on the camera? Okay, hold on. Ridley, off. He is here with me today. He is staring right at me because I yelled at him for jumping on the tripod. Oh, there he is. Leave it. Ridley, off. Off. Ridley, off. No. Ridley, off. Hey, leave it. He was nice and calm and sleeping, and then my dad came and stopped at the office and riled him up a little bit, so now here we are. Ridley, leave it. So yeah, a little bit of chaos in our first episode with this dear, sweet, loving pup. He is actually really great for a 5-month-old pup. He is not too bad. He's got a lot of energy, as one does, but he's learning to listen pretty well. He's a lot of fun. Huh. Yeah, now you're being sweet and cuddling with me over here in the corner. Yeah. So yes, if you hear any miscellaneous rustling around, that would be our sweet little pup Ridley. He is named after turtle. Kemp's Ridleys, Olive Ridleys. Turtles are my favorite sea creatures, so that is where this little dude got his name. He's been with us for about 2 weeks now. I think just under 2 weeks. So he is a new addition to the fam. All right, let's chat Wandering Wave Surf Company. So this is my beach brand. This podcast is kind of an extension of that brand. So I figured today we would go a little bit in depth on kind of the background, how it started, what it's all about. I started Wandering Wave Surf Company in late 2020 is kind of when the idea started coming about. So it wasn't quite like a COVID lockdown project because it was kind of after the main lockdown, but it's kind of. I had a different job opportunity that kind of fell through. I'd been super excited about it, so I was super bummed when it didn't work out, which is when my dad recommended trying to build something that was completely my own, something that I had full control over. That ended up turning into Wandering Wave Surf Company. The first kind of idea of the brand itself was an online surf shop. Everything you know and love from a traditional surf shop, but accessible online, because again, this kind of started in COVID when things were not fully open. You couldn't fully go shopping. Ridley, leave it. Leave it. He really likes the camera strap. Okay, we're good. Where were we? Oh, yes. Hey, leave it. Ridley. Hey. Oh, okay. You're going to come up here? If you're going to be sweet, you can come up here. All right, so back to it. The first iteration, online surf shop. But kind of as I was going through doing the research, finding products for that, I realized what I really wanted to be doing was creating something of my own. The idea for the surf shop came from, just my own background and love of water, the beach. We grew up vacationing down in Florida ever since I was a kid. And so it's a very special place in my heart. It's where I fell in love with the ocean. And that's kind of, fell in love with the water. I've also grown up working and living on Lake Michigan. Something that people maybe don't realize is that you can surf on the Great Lakes. There's actually a pretty big surf community. So that also is kind of where my love of surfing blossomed. So we have the love of the water and the ocean coming from family vacations growing up in Florida, the love of surfing that kind of started in Lake Michigan. Both of those are kind of huge pillars in my life, so it made sense to create something around that. The name came to me pretty quickly after the idea. The wandering part came from a love of travel. I dropped out of college after a year. It just wasn't the right fit, and started doing some traveling after that, which all became super, for lack of a better word, transformative for me. I still love to travel. Now, a lot of the travel is for work, but I do get in, some time for play as well. And then the waves part, obviously, the love of surfing, the love of water. And I love a little bit of alliteration, so I loved the two W's together. And that's definitely where the name came from. I knew that whatever I was going to do, I wanted to do it sustainably to whatever capacity I could. I didn't want to just create another something causing waste, contributing to the plastic problem and overconsumption. Now, let's touch on that, because as a consumer product-based business, it is impossible to be completely impactless. It is impossible to run a business like this and make no impact on the planet. But my goal is to do it in the lowest impact way I could. How are we doing that? That comes from making sure our garments are sustainably sourced. So they are organic cottons, they are made from recycled materials. Not only that, but they are made in a factory that is ran off of renewable energies. More importantly than that, the people making these garments are making livable wages. They're working in safe environments, because sustainability does have to do with the people involved as well. Our packaging is plastic free. Ridley, leave it. Off. Good boy. Good boy. So we have plastic free packaging. We try to use as little packaging as possible. Those are kind of our main things. So in addition to our sustainability efforts here, 5% of our orders, 5% of your orders rather, is donated to Coral Restoration Foundation that work to restore and regenerate the coral reef down in the Keys. It is one of the biggest barrier reefs in the world. I think it's the third, but it's also the only barrier reef in the US. And so they work to regenerate and regrow the reefs there. So, we do contribute and give back where we can. So yeah, that is a little bit about my sustainable business, or sustainable practices. Is it perfect? By no means. The goal is that as the business grows, the things that we can do to focus on sustainability, promote sustainability, will also grow and evolve, that we'll find new ways to do things, new products that are promoting sustainability, new materials to make our garments with that are better, more sustainable, take less resources, things like that. So that is a little bit about Wandering Wave Surf Company. Before we wrap up, every time we have a guest on this show, we are going to ask them 2 questions. And so I figured today I would go ahead and answer those 2 questions, give you a little bit of insight about myself, a little peek at it. The rest will kind of come as we go. So the 2 questions that every guest will be asked. first is, what is your go-to happy hour drink? Now, this one for me is a hard one because I think it kind of changes. So the answer is going to be kind of long-winded. My go-to, without a doubt, a glass of Prosecco. I love a little bit of bubbly. It's kind of no matter what mood I'm in, where I'm at, I love it. However, I do love like a fun cocktail, trying out something new. I've also really recently found out I love a hard kombucha. My dog is about to pull this computer off the table. I like a hard kombucha because, I don't know, it's just kind of fun. It's chill. It feels a little bit more casual. I would say a marg is my favorite for like a girls' night, catching up with the girls, going out to dinner. Love a marg. But if I had to like just pick one, tried or true for any occasion, we'll go with the Prosecco. The second question that we are going to ask all of our guests is, what is your go-to spot for sunset? Or if you don't have a go-to, like what is your favorite spot that you've ever gone for a sunset? My generic answer is the beach. Obviously, I'm sure you could all guess that by now. But if I had to be more specific, I would say the Florida Keys. I have seen some of the best sunsets down there, but it also is super sentimental and nostalgic. My family does have a place down there, but we've grown up vacationing there for, probably only almost 15 years now. We've spent a lot of Thanksgivings down there, some spring breaks. We've had friends getting married down there. So there is a lot of memories tied to the location. And therefore, sunsets there do feel incredibly special. So yeah, I think that is going to about wrap up our episode today. I just wanted to give a little bit of background as to that, kind of touch base as to what we are going to be chatting about on other episodes here. We got to put up with my dear sweet riled up puppy who clearly is ready to go for a little car ride and then for a walk. He also needs a brushing. That golden doodle hair, definitely have to keep up on it because they get super matted, and then you have to shave them and then they look super sad. So that is on the agenda, brushing and walking this crazy little dude. But yes, I want to thank you all for joining me here at the Sunset Happy Hour Club. I can't wait to chat more with you all. So stay tuned. We will be back next week with another episode. You can follow us on Instagram, TikTok, You can follow us on Instagram and TikTok at Sunset Happy Hour Club. You can also find us wherever you get your podcasts, Sunset Happy Hour Club. If you want to check out the business, we are Wandering Wave Surf Co. on Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, all the above, or head to the website, wanderingwavesurfco.com. We'll make a little podcast promo code. So if you see this and you head over to the site and enter the code podcast at checkout, we'll give you 15% off. So yes, thank you all for joining us for this very first episode, and we will chat again next week. Ridley is jumping up here to say goodbye as well. Say bye, Rid. Bye.